Boom. You know, it's hilarious. Judith, the last thing you said before we go live is, Josh, you're going to close it out today. I'm going to introduce the show, and he just walks off camera.
I realized that my office door was open, and I had to go close it. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm a little bit of a loud talker. And because I'm an executive over here at the property management company, they kindly request that I either use a headphones or at least keep my door closed. That's why I try to do a lot of these shows from my house, not even actually here at the office. But my name is Judah Hoover. This guy right over here is Josh Weibman. The guy on the other side is actually, let's put him
in the
middle. There we go.
Nice.
So his name is Jeremy, and we're going to talk to Jeremy here in just a little bit. But before we get into that, I just want everyone to know that this is the Build and Grow with Real Estate show. We think that real estate is a great way to make money, to feed your family on a monthly basis. It's also an awesome way to be a hedge against inflation and to put your dollars to work, put your skills to work, to create long-term wealth, passive income, horizontal income, whatever you want to call it, money while you sleep. And real estate is an awesome way to do that. And that's what the show Build and Grow with Real Estate is all about. Our little moniker there, our little emblem, our mascot, if you will, is the ant. Because if you know the story of the ant and the grasshoppers, we want to train people to be ants, not grasshoppers. We want to train people to build for their future, save for their future, invest for their future, not be an ant where you just play the summer away and then when winter comes, you are left out in the cold. Really quickly, my contact information is right above Josh, and Josh's contact information is right above me. Josh is with Hard Money Bankers. He is a real estate investor and a hard money lender. I am a realtor, and I also do property management services. I'm a realtor and a real estate investor. And so we would love to talk to you about any and all of those things. Our guest today, we're going to start asking you questions here, Jeremy, in just a second.
All right.
So our guest today, I got to know, he's actually he's the son-in-law of Daryl Everly, who we've had on the show on multiple occasions. Daryl Everly is just, like if you read in the Bible, like Proverbs, they're like little pithy one-liners and things like that. Daryl talks like that in wealth creation things. He has all of these, little things. I can only imagine what it's like to be a son-in-law of Golly.
Yeah.
So let's start there, Jeremy. Like, how did you get to know Daryl? What was that like? And then, and how did you get invested in real estate?
Sure. It starts with meeting his daughter. So I married his daughter, Kate. We met at our church in Harrisburg about 2009 and got married then. Daryl actually mentored me in the beginning of my real estate career. So he was a huge part in helping me get started and kind of.
Now, what did he say and what did you say back? Tell that part of the story.
Sure. Yeah. So it was about 2009. I think I was engaged to Kate anyway. Walked into the house one day and Daryl said to me, "Hey, Jeremy, do you want to buy a 2-unit?" And I was like, let me ask my mom. I don't know. I was like 18 or 19 at the time.
Hold on a second. You know what I love about this? So we're talking about this before we jumped on the show. And, it's not like you were 35 and you said, let's ask your mom. You were 19 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And you're allowed to say.
Right.
Right. But there's two things here. Two things that get me. Number one, at 19, you're thinking about investing in real estate. But also at 19, you're looking at getting married.
Right.
Like, that's cool. Like, I thought I was young. I got married at 23. I mean, I was 24. But, I was pretty young. And I looked at 19 and, like, that's a baby. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah. My wife and I, we talk about that all the time. We often say, I don't know what our parents were thinking letting us get married so young. I mean, I got married at 20 and she was 19. So yeah, it was that's young. It's very young, but I think the reason I said with my mom was she was a lot of the wisdom in my life at that point, up to that point. So I was like, I got to run it by my wise person first. And she was like, sure. If Daryl says do it, go for it. So.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yep.
So you bought that 2-unit. Did I do that loan for you, or did I do the next loan when you reached like that?
You helped me with the next one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because back then I was actually in the mortgage industry,
right.
and yeah. Anyway, so keep on.
I'm going to back this up 2 seconds here. So 19.
Mhm.
Actually, there's three things that fascinate me about 19.
Sure.
Right? Where the heck did you get the money to buy this duplex at
That's actually
19
a
years old?
great question. So at that point, Daryl basically helped walk me through the whole process. He actually, it was a huge blessing from the very beginning. I mean, he literally held my hand through the entire process, walked me through it, mentored me through it. So we leaned on a relationship that he had with his realtor at that point. That realtor's dad, who was an older gentleman, had the financing at that point. It was a 2-unit in on North Mary Street or I'm sorry, not North Mary Street. It was North Marshall Street in Lancaster. We bought it for 35. It was a HUD deal. 35K in Lancaster right now is unheard. I mean, it'd be like, yeah, it's unheard of. You'd never get it today. But so we've relied heavily on that relationship that Daryl had already built. So he was kind enough and wanted to help me through that process that way. And I think, that's kind of where we started.
What year was that?
That was 2000. So my first one was in 2009. Judah helped me, I believe, in 2011.
Something
So
like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Man. Man.
I
And
know.
how many units was the next one? What was the next property you bought?
So that was a 2-unit on North Marshall Street. I bought it for 35. I ended up selling that roughly a year later or so. I bought the 2-unit on King Street that you helped me with, Judah, refinance. That was a 2-unit as well. That's kind of got the ball rolling. That's where I really started to pick up momentum after that.
Yeah, and it's been not looking back and going full speed since then.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you say full speed, it can be relative for people.
Right.
I started with a 2-unit, held on for a year, kind of built my chops, so to speak. Started to develop the thick skin of a landlord. But after that, sold that, took some of the profits, put it into another 2-unit, did the same thing. The BRRRR strategy has been my big thing. How I've invested most of my properties, but
and we try not to talk about unit caps here, and that's actually one of the things I got from Daryl. Because somebody who says they have 25 units but they're leveraged to the hilt. I mean, is he actually any better than the guy who only has 10 but they're in a much better position? So, but you've also been smart about this. Like you've been building your real estate, and everybody goes at different paces. You also have another job that is related to real estate, and talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So I do roofing, siding, and gutter sales currently as my kind of like 9 to 5. I really don't touch my real estate investing at all. I've allowed that to just kind of grow over time, appreciate over time. I haven't touched the cash flow really at all. I've been blessed to do a sales job that I really enjoy, and they allowed me the flexibility to really, if I need to do something, I can go do it as far as real estate goes, whether it's acquire something or work on something or get to an emergency or whatever. They've been flexible.
Jeremy, all right. So you're selling home improvement products, right? Or services, products, whatever.
Yep.
You've got this real estate and you got income coming in. Does that income play into your lifestyle, or is that something that I mean, maybe you already said this, but I'm
sure.
Reiterate. Do you pump that money back into the asset, or you just let it sit there? You spend it, on vacation. What's your plan with the funds that are
Sure. That's a good question. I think it's more of a long-term play for me. I'm fairly happy. I wouldn't say fairly happy if they're watching. I'm happy, guys. No, but no, I'm happy with my job. I've allowed the rental properties to basically accrue and just pay for them. I mean, just do their own thing, and I don't really touch that cash flow at all. I don't live off that at all. I live off my 9 to 5 job, so to speak, my sales job. Again, I think the real estate is more of a long-term play for me. I think I eventually would like to be out of the 9 to 5 rat race, so to speak, in the next 5 to 10 years or so, and be retired, quote unquote, but not out of the real estate game. I always see myself acquiring real estate for the next 20 years.
There's nothing wrong with that. I got to tell
Right.
you, I'm gonna preach here for 45 seconds. But I heard an interview with Frazier, the guy who wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. Why can't I think of his first name? Frazier. Anyway,
the 4-Hour Workweek. Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. That guy does not work a 4-hour work week. He works 4 hours for 10 a.m.
Right.
Like that guy does.
Hold on a second, though. Well, yeah, go. You say
here's my point. Here's my point. That book is about concepts. Quitting your job is about not being a slave to your job. And there's a whole bunch of people who I think quit their job too soon and they rely on real estate too soon. That's the mistake I made. I was 22, bought my first rental property, quit my job 6 months later, blew it up and was doing all this stuff. And for a year and a half, didn't have a job, and then realized, actually what I'd rather do is have a job that I want, have a job that I like, start a company, get into sales, do this type of job, do that type of job. Makes a lot of sense. And I think that so many people work jobs that they absolutely hate, that they romanticize this idea
that's very true.
Quitting your job. And I posted something on Facebook the other day about, how a weekly salary is very addictive. It's as addictive as heroin. And somebody was like, Judah, don't you, kind of work a job for Slate House?
I saw that.
I was like, but it's commission and profits. Like that's wildly different than being chained to a job. So I just say to you, Jeremy, don't yourself or let anybody else
I appreciate
look down on you, put down on you, or say that you're doing it wrong because you still have a job. Because here's the other thing. First of all, you work for an awesome dude. I know who you work for. And also you're touching real estate with what you do.
Oh, for sure.
And you're and because of the estimating skills and the project management skills and other things like that you do in your job, that really helps translate, keeping those skills sharp for what's going on in your real estate world. I think that that's very important.
Jeremy, all right, so I got a follow-up question for you. Out here. A lot of people, I see this as a lender. I get calls from people all the time. They're like, we're going to buy this place for 50 grand. We're going to throw 20 grand into it, and it's going to be worth $300 million. And it's always like the 20 grand rehab that transforms the shack to like the chateau, and there's one comp at 300 million, of course. But here, the bottom line is, I think people across the board, myself included, we were talking about the rehab that I have going on in my own house. Like, times are changing with construction costs.
Totally.
That's important to understand. But like, how much construction are you doing on your projects? How comfortable are you pricing out a rehab? And then how involved are you, if you are rehabbing, how involved are you with those projects? Or is this something where you hire a GC that and you're like, I'm out?
Sure. For most of my projects, I've been, pretty much the one looking at the I did, to a disclaimer, I've done maybe 2 flips in my entire, real estate career over the past, I'm more of a buy and hold guy personally. So, it really, as a buy and hold investor, if I'm off 5 grand here and there, it's not a huge deal. But however, it can eat into your cash flow that way. But, at first, but typically I learned, especially from Daryl, again, mentorship. He kind of showed me, hey, this is kind of what to at least expect, and you can be wrong, especially now. I mean, man, like when a piece of 3/4 inch plywood is like, I saw pictures like 95, like $95, 74. It's insane. Like, so you better be estimating a little high now. But for the most part, I've been the one who's kind of, at least most recent in the past couple of years, kind of, if I'm looking at a property without, taking Daryl along or whatever, I've been kind of going out on my own now and looking at the projects myself and been able to pretty close, especially with my construction background, been able to guess pretty closely as to what, not guess, it's not a good way, but look at the project and say, hey, this is what we should be paying. So.
So Judah, Matt just quit his job because he was following your Facebook post.
Right.
And now he has one rental property to replace his $400,000 a year income. And he's like,
oh boy,
happened.
That doesn't actually work.
No, okay, so you're mostly hands off. I love that you know what kind of investor you are. You know, I'm talking flips, and you're like, that doesn't even. You're like, I did one and screwed it up, or didn't go. And then the second one, you're like, this isn't for me. I totally see that. I've been there.
I bought my first real flip. I bought a property across the street from a multifamily that I owned. And, you're like, oh, I know this market. I know exactly what it should do. You get into it and you talk about surprises. It's like, oh crap. Now the roof needs some work and this, we can, all this, whatever. Anyway, it's like, hey, I get a $5,000 check at the end. It's like, oh, you think you're going to make $70,000. It's like, no, it doesn't. You got to be real careful. So
you've got to be real careful when you're in the flip business, especially when, right now values are going up, and that's great. Right. The problem is, and nobody talks about this, a lot of buyers out there are really fussy. A lot of these houses that are selling really, really quickly, it's because they've had a lot of work done to them.
Right.
There's a couple of my farm markets that I really watch really closely for projects and opportunities when they come up. And I see the same property come on and off the market 2 or 3 times because, somebody gets under contract and then they do an inspection and they're like, oh, I got to replace the carpets. And, the air conditioning unit is 20 years old.
Right.
Well, I mean, like that was baked into the price. You could have or should have seen that, but it is what it is. I think that the other thing, a lot of people start making money off of flips and rentals, and they quit their job too soon.
Right.
And what they don't realize is it takes like a 2-year average of that.
Right.
And if you make, and if you're getting W-2 income, that just makes you so much more financeable for private money lenders, for hard money lenders, for commercial lenders, for residential lenders. All 4 categories of lenders want to see that W-2, and even if it's a 100% commission job, they still like seeing that more. And hold on, let me just say this. When it comes to those flips, if you make $75,000 in 1 year, and then the second year you make $50,000, they don't average those two. They take they'll take the average if the income is going up, but if the income is going down, they take the lower. So you've really got to be careful with how banks calculate a lot of these other incomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, we're talking about having a job and all this stuff. Here's what I've seen. I've coached a lot of people in real estate. I mean, on a one-on-one basis. And I've seen people that I thought were going to be really awesome and super successful just crap out. And I've seen people that I really had doubts about in a very short period of time really excel, right? And one thing that I've noticed across the board is that people that end up excelling in wholesaling and in direct to seller marketing, where they're building a portfolio of either rentals or flips or whatever, they're the ones that have some flexibility in their job, like you're saying.
Right.
It's not necessarily that they don't have a job. It's just that, hey, if I get a off Thursday afternoon to go take a look at 3 properties and I'm going to buy one, that's a good use of time, and you've got the ability to do it. And in fact, like I've seen, we had Ian Horowitz on here a couple of weeks ago. He's out of Baltimore, and I mean, he's a firefighter, right? It gives him the best potential for success because he's got a great retirement. He's got a great health care. And he's got a small number of days a month that he's got to commit to his job. And so that just seems to be the thing. It doesn't mean that just because you're making $1 million a year, flipping houses or investing in real estate or whatever, you're not going to do something else. Like if you put it in a molly pot, what are you going to do? Go sit in the sun out front all day long? And, So I think that's a common misnomer is like people want to retire. Like they want to retire in Florida with the boat and the jet. And then they want to go to Europe and they want to travel the US and all this. And like, if you got, $100 million laying around, like you can do
sure.
what you want, right?
Right. Yeah, I think especially in today's society, culture, whatever, with the availability of just like Instagram, like you get all the best of the best of everything. It's really simple or easy to buy into this fake world, and I've heard so many stories about how everything is, all these people are rented, it's all rented, it's all fake, all the Lambos, all the jets, it's all rented, it's all fake, it's not real. So it's easy to buy into that. And I think when I was younger, after like reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad, which really I think for me changed my life, it was an amazing book. Daryl recommended it to me, and I read it, and but I think I did buy into that a little bit of like, I'm going to live, just live off my rental income for, at 25, I'm going to retire and be out of the job and not going to do anything. It's going to be awesome. And it's like, I think I bought into that, not lie, but just that idea too early. And I realized, okay, like I can be happy here doing sales. And like you said, Judah, just doing a job that gives me a lot of flexibility and
a lot of connections.
Yeah, and a lot of connections.
Connections I've got. Also, it was Robert Kiyosaki, who, he was a Marine Corps pilot.
Right.
That's not just a 4-year enlistment. Like, he's a Marine Corps pilot for a significant period of time.
Yeah, at least 8 years.
And after that, he was a copier salesman.
Right.
Now, back when people faxed documents and stuff like that, copiers and printers were these things that people had in their offices.
Sure.
And they were very expensive, and you'd have to buy them. But he was a copier salesman, and that's how he learned how to be a salesman. And Jeremy, I gotta ask you. Let me ask you a question, Jeremy. So because I've known you for a while,
sure.
And I remember kind of being surprised about 2 years ago or something like that when I found out that you were working for Best and that you were a salesman, because you don't I'm a loud, obnoxious, gregarious individual to a fault. Just ask anybody to tell you. So my question to you, Jeremy, is, hey, so you tell me, you learned how to sell. Sell is not sell. Sell. Selling was a process for you, and that's helped your overall communication with buyers and sellers and tenants and everything like that.
Sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my personality, I definitely like a people person, enjoy talking with people, I've always kind of been like a social butterfly. In high school, I was on the baseball team, but then I was like into video games, Star Wars. I mean, all sides of the spectrum, so to speak. So, learned to really be able to talk to anybody almost. And, yeah, so that's definitely been a huge help into sales, growing into my sales career as well, and just learning how to sell things. Yeah, for sure.
Nice, outstanding. By the way, Daryl Eberly is I met Daryl. I'm 41. I met Daryl when I was 17, and Daryl is just a Lancaster County dude who has been a mentor to me my entire life. He's absolutely awesome. We've got some people here asking in comments about him. He's also been on our show a number of times. He is a longtime real estate investor here in Lancaster, and now, I mean, he spends a lot of his time, looking to eliminate deer and spend as much time with his grandkids as possible. Yeah. Those are like the two things that he tries to do. So he is a little bit
travel. He travels a lot.
But that's also what he's done. I heard your lovely mother-in-law, who I'm blessed to have a personal relationship with well. She said that, like, I forget what she said, but like, Daryl is the master of delayed gratification.
Oh my word, he's got a black belt in delayed gratification.
Right.
Dude, I could tell you so many stories. Okay, I got to tell you at least like one or two stories.
Yeah, please do. Come on.
So Daryl, and I honestly, I love this about him. This is from his background. I mean, this is him, just again, delayed gratification. If you learn anything from Daryl, listening to him talk, like, that's what he'll preach. But he has a fairly large property that, their personal property. And he would pick up, and he always did this as I met him and learned, over the past 10 years, he would pick up from his rental properties, these different things from tenants, whether it be a stove or whatever, because they leave it behind. So he would just bring it home and use it. So he has a large property. He brought home a electric blower, but it's electric, so it's plugged in, so it's tied to an electric outlet. It's just funny because it's this huge property, and here's this guy with a hand blower, and he could easily buy a new one, but that's Daryl. That's what he does. That's how he save money. So, and then his lawnmower. I think he kept his lawnmower for close to 30 years.
Wow.
Close to 30 years, which is amazing. Yeah. It just a delayed gratification. They just bought a new one. So it's awesome.
So you do, I just heard this on a podcast, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Right. So it's if you major in the minors, then you can master in the majors.
Exactly.
And so Daryl just is always, and what's great about him is he doesn't come across as cheap or overly frugal, especially here in Lancaster County. There's a lot of us half Mennonites that, we really can pinch a penny, but Daryl certainly is very frugal, but he's understood that if I save money now, I can have it later. I remember my seventh grade history teacher. My seventh grade history teacher had something on the wall, and it said, people trade what they want most for what they want most in the moment.
Oh, wow. That's good.
And
really
it always hit me. It always stuck with me. I got to tell you, I haven't always done it.
Right.
And just like everyone says, diet and exercise is very easy to understand. Diet and exercise is a simple concept. It's very difficult to actually execute on. The concept of people trade what they want most for what they want most in the moment, very easy to understand, very difficult to execute. And if you can work on executing that, you can have some pretty amazing things in life.
It's true. Very true.
Sorry, I get preachy sometimes. Josh,
I love it. I'm just quiet. Yeah. I'm just quietly nodding my head.
No, it's good. I love it.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, what are you thinking now for you and Kate? I mean, because I know that Kate also works in the salon, and she loves that. You've got those two rowdy boys and a little girl who unfortunately, see, I have three boys and then a girl, and the girl took after the boys. I mean, it is going to be the exact same for you, my friend.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it will.
You're looking at, are you and Daryl and Dallas, who we need to have Dallas on the show, by the way. Dallas just finished a 3-unit, and Dallas is, he and I are working on
he's doing great.
So are you and Daryl and Dallas? When's the next time are you guys looking to pull your money together into a project, or are you looking to buy another 2 or 3 unit yourself? What's your next move in real estate going to be?
Sure. For me personally, I'm always looking for properties. I mean, for me, I've realized over as long as I've been doing this, I put the same amount of effort into a 2-unit as I do a 16. Like I bought a 16 unit in Harrisburg. The same amount of effort that I put into my 2 units to buy, I put the same amount into my 16 units. So I'm always looking to buy. I mean, obviously everybody realizes the real estate market right now is what it is. But always looking, always keep my eyes open, looking at stuff. But for personally, that's kind of what I do. I just always keep my eyes on the market, look at the MLS, try to tell people that I'm acquiring stuff, always looking for stuff. With Dallas and Daryl and I, we actually started a business together. We are getting into the storage facility.
Right. I remember that now.
Yeah, side. So we're always looking to purchase on that end as well. So with Daryl's knowledge in the storage facility, arena, we're looking to purchase there. I think we're about to acquire one here soon. So starting that as well.
That's awesome.
Man, that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, we're excited.
Mm-hmm. We gotta have Dallas on now. So that
absolutely.
We've had
Listen,
we try to keep these. We definitely try to keep these shows to half an hour, and we really appreciate your time here, Jeremy. And we got the next time you're on, I think we want to talk about that 16 unit and how
please,
you found
it.
How you took the deal down and financed it, and kind of what you did to kind of reposition it and turn it around.
It's a cool story.
Like that. Definitely got to be a good thing to dissect.
Definitely. Sounds great.
Great. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Tomorrow, we are going to have our end of the week news roundup. We got a lot of information for you tomorrow on inflation and in the economy. We're going to be talking about housing and a lot of awesome stuff. So if you like today's show, don't forget to like and share. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon, and we want to invite you to join us, and we'll see you then. Till then, go make some money, guys. Thanks.
Hey, everybody.
That's good. Thanks, guys.